This conference will now be recorded.
Years ago, you know.
The Cottage Grove Town Board will hold a public meeting beginning at 7 p.m. on Monday, November 18th, 2024 at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N in Cottage Grove. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order and we'll stand for the flag pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You have the minutes of our last meeting.
I'll move approval as presented.
Second.
Motion by Williams, second by Duplay to approve the minutes for November 6th as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
One not present.
That's right. Finance report and approval of bills.
Move approval the checks 37,484 to 37,530 be paid. And we make EFT payments of $15,220.89.
Motion by Duplay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Fonger to approve checks 37,484 through 37,530 and the EFT payment of $15,220.89. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You also have your unaudited cash and investment balance of $2,386,275.16 and the October building permits.
Move approval as presented. Second.
Motion by Anders,
Second.
second by Duplay to approve the October building permits as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Anything else? Okay. Next item is public concerns. Public's opportunity to speak to the town board about any subject that is not a specific agenda item.
Can you work back from the building inspector on the house on end from the,
No.
no, okay.
No reports.
What was that about? House on end?
The one that burned up across, the one by the water tower, the one that we
Oh.
think is in the village, but it's actually
Yeah.
still in the town yet.
He's got tin roofing on it now.
What's that?
Got tin roofing on it now.
Okay.
Doesn't have the tarp there anymore. It's actually got tin roof on it.
Well, maybe he's doing something finally with it.
Next item is to review the October police activities.
I'll let you guys start off with any questions.
See, everyone's still speeding.
We're getting less speeders, I would say, than what we've been getting before. Definitely not getting as many as I normally do. I think people are starting to learn and wake up, but we are still having a lot of speed alerts on Gaston in the high 60s, 70s, and even 80s, as well as down in Vilas and Glaveview where the other board is. We're getting a lot of 60s and 70s, and even I think we've had a couple 80s as well. So I spent an entire shift this week sitting on Vilas, and I got 0 people. So it goes and flows. I mean, it's hard because obviously we have to be in other places as well, but I also wanted to sit there and wait for the prize, right? But you know, kind of take those chances to you know, minimize the traffic concerns. But so we're doing our best that we can do. But it's hard. We can't be everywhere at once, for sure.
Okay. Everything's okay at the station?
Station's good. Cars are good. No concerns there at all, for sure. Like I said earlier,
No mice?
loving the gig.
Okay.
Yes, no mice. No mice. The mice person just came out and so there was no signs of mice presence.
All right. Any questions?
EMS assist, any, did they have accidents or?
No, it's lots of the times is just kind of helping lifting and doing those kind of various admin tasks since normally they only send out an AMBO and not with fire, which is
Right.
something I'm not used to from my previous agency because whenever an AMBO went out, fire went out as well. But so I always go out there just to make sure they're okay and they need any hands or whatever. Sometimes we've had a couple where it's gotten out of control where somebody was going through a medical concern as well. So then we end up calling fire out to assist with more hands on deck in case they went PNB, which the person didn't. So they were able to put them back in a normal status. But you know, you never know what you're gonna get. So
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Keep us safe out
Keep
there.
up the good work.
thank you. Appreciate it. Take care, y'all.
Yep, see ya.
Next item, presentation by Jewel Associate Engineers Incorporated for options to replace bridge on Nat Big Road. Scott and Mike are here from Jewel with all good news, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we met with Chris on site. We did look at the bridge. And what was kind of discussed was you guys had concerns with condition of the bridge with the new bridge that's going to be going in on N there and the traffic that might detour on that big road there. The bridge itself does, when we took the initial look at it when I was out there, I mean, it looks in fairly good shape. That type of structure itself is actually, it's kind of built like a tank. They last for a long time, and they're really hard to get into the replacement program. It does have what I call widowmakers, but it's the concrete barriers on the sides. So there is a concern there, and it is old enough to get replaced at some point. Is it in imminent failure right now? No.
I did find out that prior to 53, Nat Big Road was a county end.
Okay.
So I assume the county probably built that bridge way back whenever, but
You know, and like I said, either way, it looked good. The bridge itself looks good right now. Now with N getting constructed here and replaced, that bridge happens in 2025. I know Chris is 25,
27.
26.
27, the county's replacing the bridge on N.
Okay, so but either way, you're looking at replacing that big bridge there prior to that.
If we could.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely could. Would I recommend it? No, let's say. So the reason I would not recommend doing it is there's no reason for you to put a new structure there just to get an increased amount of traffic on it and get additional wear and tear on it. I would say there might be more concern if the bridge was in bad shape and it was failing, but it's not right now. Now, options you have is that we could do a full bridge inspection on it, so you guys can see what it's rated at as for structure, which we do all the time, for the DOT program, which is a biennium program. This bridge has probably never been inspected. So we'd have to do some research on how it was built, see if we can find some plans from the county that might have a history of it would help out. But overall, from initial looks, it looks fairly sound. As far as options you have, if you do want to look at a replacement, it would qualify for replacement. You do have the County Bridge Color Aid program. That program itself is a 50-50 cost share program. That's for construction and design. On top of that, you also have other means. You have the WSDOT program, which would be the Eller program, and that avenue would be the TRI program, the TRID, and the TRIS programs. The TRID program is also a 50-50 match. The TRIS program is it's up to 90-10 program, but they get awarded at 70-30. So what you can do is you can submit for any of those programs, and then as part of your cost share, if you're awarded with the Albert program, you can then split the cost share with the county. So if you get awarded the 50-50 TRID, now it becomes a 75-25 cost share. If it's awarded at the 70-30, the TRIS program, now it becomes an 85-15 cost share. With these programs though, if you want to get the design funded through the program, you have to wait to submit for the project, and then get a signed SMA, which is a statements to agreement with DOT. The next cycle for these applications are going to be in the fall of 2025. Okay. You will not hear on award until March, April 2026. And that might change from year to year. So that's where, as we're talking, if you don't have your award for until, if you don't know for award until 2026, it does put a wrinkle into the program as far as when you want to build the project then. Because if you can't start the design until March, April, it's going to take that whole year to design that project. Now you're looking at 27 construction at that point. So,
In your opinion, is we need a bridge, not a culvert?
I would say more than likely it will not be permitted. We can definitely try to get it permitted as a culvert, but I would say it's unlikely to be permitted as a culvert right now because the structure itself is a bottom structure. So more than likely it will require us to do a bottom structure. You could look at some contact metal culverts that are bottom structures, but this is going to be a large enough span. It's going to probably cost just about as much to do the bridge. So at that point, you might as well go to the bridge route.
What about like putting stoplights to help with traffic or anything like that?
As far as preventing traffic to detour onto Nutmeg Road there.
Yeah.
So the way I would do it is that you are going to, there's nothing you can essentially do there unless you're willing to put a full closure across the road with barricades. People over time will find their way through it. It's just human nature. It's how construction goes. But with that being said, is that on end you will have a full closure at the bridge. But prior to that, they will have offset barricades. Pedestrian traffic will be able to get through, and I should say the cars and trucks will be able to get through very easily. Semis will not likely be able to get through based on spacing. And really where the issues are going to come was that if you get a lot of semis going through there or dump trucks, that's your issue.
Nesvik, you're talking about?
Yeah, that's because those
That's
are
my
those
thing.
are
I wonder what is it set for? Is it set for 20 tons or 50 tons or
I have no
car
idea.
or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep, I have no idea because we don't have the plans in front of us. We don't know what they designed it for. And then I'd have to have my inspectors actually do a true inspection.
I don't even know. Do we have other traffic on there other than cars? Maybe some.
Right now?
Yeah. Probably not, right?
You have some grain.
Yeah.
When they're
I suppose.
harvesting, you'll have grain trucks, fertilizer trucks in the spring, and
That's about it.
Right.
Fall maybe or something or.
furniture
Maybe
truck
occasion-
bringing something to
Yeah,
Sky
yeah,
High
yeah.
or something like that, probably.
So we're generally not talking about heavy stuff on there.
Not
Generally.
regular,
Not right now, no.
But if N's closed, you will.
No.
What's that?
But if N is closed, you will.
Oh, yeah, it'll be the new highway and bypass.
Yeah.
it really depends on how they set up the closure, is what they're.
Oh, yeah, they do. They told us it's gonna be 73.
Right, yeah, so when I say the closure is how do they place the, traffic control
Barricades.
to the barricades, let's say. Semi-truck traffic and drivers will not get out necessarily move barricades all the time. So if you decrease the spacing between them, it's gonna be a lot easier for them to move through the barricades. And like I said, the other option is just do a hard closure at the bridge too, if you guys have a concern about it. But I know with the concern about doing that is that EMS is the concern. So you kind of pick your poison on it too, because even if you get the amount of traffic that you guys are expecting, you're more likely to see more damage, I would say, to the roadway itself than the bridge right away. You'll be doing a lot of maintenance on the roadway.
Yeah.
For sure, on that road.
Yeah, but and we've done this before where you have issues like this. And then what you do is that you would submit for funding for the bridge and you also submit funding for the road. And that's where I would recommend doing the work after the fact. Because now you can submit for it and now you're getting a new roadway out of it anyways too.
It's not gonna get all beat up for the months that it's gonna take the county to do the bridge. Well, here's the other thing too, in my opinion. Just put weight limits on it. I mean, if you decide to keep Natick open, post it at 10 tons or 20 tons or whatever, and let traffic use it.
Yeah, I think.
That's what I was talking about, you gotta post it for local traffic or something,
Just, yeah, correct.
Basically station a cop there to
well.
catch them.
It's
So,
gonna
But
be.
for the most part, people will look at it. There's always gonna be people that are gonna break the law, so.
You'd have to do something though to make sure that traffic that is used to going through figures it out before they get right there that there's weight limits and because where are they gonna turn around, You'd have to have a 10-ton bridge ahead sign at where BB.
Well, and with it being said.
County to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, where would you have to put it to keep traffic from heading down that
Coffee
way?
Town?
You put it at the intersection there.
Which intersection?
That's the only one we can put it as in, right there at our road at
I mean, I
Natick.
think you'd have to have a sign well in advance.
It's not their scheduled detour though, so
Well, but I mean, a warning of your 10-ton bridge, so, because that's the only way through if they go that way.
it's always at the beginning of the road.
You will have also, keep in mind with the end project happening, as part of their design plan and detour plan is that they will have pre-warning signs for bridge out at the intersections already.
True.
So they are gonna be giving that warning to them right away. And like I said, what's really critical when it comes to the semi-traffic is to keep those barricades as close as possible so they can't get through. You're only allowing local traffic through only.
I don't understand where these barricades are.
On end,
So
they're on-
basically, on end, what you'll have is so if you have traffic
For that.
moving this way, you're going to have a barricade here and a barricade here. So this vehicle is gonna have to come through here and weave through. Now, that's gonna be much more difficult if you tighten this up for a semi, where it only allows.
But this is before Natick, this isn't for their bridge.
Just for their bridge, it'll be by Paul
This would
Davis.
could be a half a mile prior,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So I agree with you, you do wanna do it prior to force the traffic.
So applying for the LRIP and that, is that something you could do for us?
Yeah, so on average, this last year I submitted 15 grants, I got 13 grants awarded from clients, so. Over the years, my success rates are right around 92%, for the last 10 years.
And so when would you have to start that to make the application fall of next year?
Yeah, so we won't start until probably August, September there. Just for the fact until they come out with the new program, new cycle, we always look to see what, anything new comes in there that they want us to talk about.
And would we want to go for both bridge and roadway?
I think so.
Yeah, probably so.
But
Yes.
after the fact. Are we gonna also authorize them to do a full inspection on that?
Well, I mean, next year, the county will hire someone to do those 6 to 20 foot. I don't know if that's you or who.
I don't know on the,
But
it's not,
would that
I
cover
can
it?
tell you it's not us, so with they could, it's gonna be, what they're asking for is gonna be a much, much less than what you're gonna be looking for, is that you're gonna have to, ideally is that, well, one is that if we can get the original plans for the structure from the county, that's probably the most critical element of this. Otherwise, what we do is we look at year of build and then historically tells us this type of structure, this is how it was constructed, and then we just have to, we make our, I hate to say this, but we make our best guess based on the knowledge we have there, so, and make some assumptions on how it was designed and built.
I know I didn't ask the county about the bridge. I asked them about the roadway, if they could tell me what the base in that was.
Yep.
They had nothing on that, so I don't know if they would have plans on that bridge or not.
Sure.
But can you give us an estimate of cost
Sure.
for doing the inspection and then doing the grant writing
Yeah.
for
so-
both the bridge and for the roadway?
Yeah, so far as with the grant there for that is I charge right around $500 for the grant, so. We're gonna keep it low is because I figure if I can get the money for you, more than likely hire us to do the work anyway, so it's cheap, business development for us. And as far as the inspection there, typical inspections for bridges that we already on inventory are right around between $300 and $500. I would say this one's in that $500 to $1,000 range for the inspection. So to do a quality job, let's say.
So I guess we would need that in writing and then we could put that on our next board agenda for acceptance, if that's what the
Yes.
board
Yeah.
wishes to do.
Yes.
So I'll do is I'll submit a proposal to you, for bridge inspection as one, and then as a grant writing for the second time, so.
Yeah,
And go from there, so, and then we'll submit it as one project then.
okay,
Then also, then I would say doing that, I would say then you'll want to start thinking about petitioning Dane County then for bridge culvert aid program too. Just so you can get that in the works there and get it
I
on.
would want you to do all of that.
I'll take care of that.
Just so you know.
Yeah,
So you're.
Perfect, I can take care of that.
That's why they call them experts.
So this would all be for construction after.
28, probably.
like
After
28.
and construction.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, I mean.
never get it done beforehand and get funding.
This could be 27. But what we want to do is that if their bridge gets built in the spring of 2027, we'll come in and do our bridge after. Yeah, so, which isn't a big deal, so. Bridges themselves take between 30 to 35 working days, depending on size. I think this one was 40, if I remember right, what we were talking about, Chris. So there's plenty of season left to get all that work done.
Okay. Sound like the plan?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. We'll look forward to hearing from you and
Sure.
no doubt we'll see you again.
Yep, absolutely. What I'll do here is I will leave a couple of these LRIP manuals here with you, and then also a list of projects that were funded last cycle here, just for information more than anything, so you guys know what to deal with. But those are the programs that you guys always want to be taking advantage of on a, like, the best way and the easiest way to get funding for the town for roads, okay?
All right.
All right,
Thank
you guys,
Thank you
anything
very
else, let
much,
me know,
Scott.
okay? Thank you.
Mike?
Thank
you. Thank you. Next item, consider approval of certified survey map for Vinnie Acres LLC for the lot line adjustment between parcel 0711-311-0011-0 and parcel 0711-311-8020-0 at 2876 Seagull Cow Road.
So this is just the last piece of that rezone where they increased that lot 2 on the map by a little sliver to get a little more room. That's ended up having to be.
That little sliver.
Motion to approve the certified survey map. Number, I'll use the office map number 220298. I don't see a date on it.
It's on the next stop on the next page, 1031.
Up here. 1031.
Got it, okay. That would be fine.
Motion by Anders.
Second.
Second by Williams to approve the certified survey map, office map number 220298 dated October 31st, 2024. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, discuss and consider approval of quotes to install solar panels for the town hall and town garage.
All right.
Hello.
Welcome back.
You all have the quote in front of you.
Yes.
Okay, so for the first one, the town hall specifically, we did look at the grassy spot just out here.
Yes.
And because of the slope, our solution was to go with what's called the MT solar mount. So they're made out of Montana. We've installed probably a handful of these in Wisconsin, so we know how to do it. We've done it. They work great. They do, the price goes up a little bit, which you see because of the cement valves that we've got to pour on the pole. And at this size, it's fairly large, so it requires a bigger foundation. That foundation would sit kind of level to the grass in the back and stick out about maybe this much near the front with the grade that's back there. And then the mount itself is actually, you can tilt adjust, so it's got a crank. So you can actually set it for, twice a year, 4 times a year, whatever you want, based on where the sun is. So like now you're gonna have more of a high angle with the sun being low, and then crank it back for the summer when the sun's higher up. So it actually, the production value that I have here is actually a little low. That's based on not adjusting the tilt, which is that 9,400 kilowatt hours per year. So it's about 80% of your use in this building. The benefit of tilting it up back in the summer, for the most part, you tend to use a little bit more energy in the summer here. So you can optimize on that and make sure you're actually getting closer to 90% of your energy use, which will help in turn generate more savings than what I provided in this quote.
So your placement of those here are right outside this door.
Yep. Kind of near the bottom, maybe, I don't know, about a third of the way up that slope.
So your 2 favorite trees would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Are you cheering?
No.
Is there gonna be any fencing put around this thing?
This one doesn't really need fencing because it's going to be up off the ground. that would be up to you if you wanted to do that, but we tend not to do it. You know, if this was gonna be closer to your soccer field and stuff, that would be a different scenario, but I think it's, up here is fine.
I don't see much activity up here. Everything's down back there and
Yeah, but you don't have an attractive nuisance over here yet either.
They park all over by our shop, so. I mean, this thing's full of cars when there's
I
soccer
mean,
here.
Oh, yeah.
the siblings do a lot of wandering.
Yeah.
Sometimes our drop box is full of rocks.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing,
They don't have to watch them.
we could look at putting up kind of a mesh on the back to help just from anybody trying to play around in there. But otherwise, everything else is going to be sealed and conduit and run. And what we figured for this one is we should be able to get it to the building. Two options. One, if it's possible, is to go through that bottom level. Otherwise, we could go up and just run the conduit above your drop tiles here, all the way back to the panel.
box.
Yeah.
If kids do throw rocks at these things, how susceptible to damage are they?
Well, they're rated for, most of these panels are rated for golf ball size hail at 50 to 60 miles an hour. So they would have to throw pretty hard. Yeah.
Put a "you break it, you buy it" sign out there.
Yeah, getting 23 grand from a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
that's why we pay insurance.
True. And it keeps going up.
Yeah.
Everybody's does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did, I looked across the street, but the issue there is, directional boring under your driveway here. Also, it's against the slope up and up, really would not be ideal. We did look, if you put the ground mount out in that back field, you're looking at 550, 600 feet of trenching and wire. And then you're also dealing with that culvert that's back there. We
Right.
don't know the depth of that. And there's a minimum distance or depth that, our wires would need to be buried. So
What are you thinking? Is it best to go through the wall? Right where it's at?
yeah, I mean,
I would think it would be
if
there's
if
somewhere
we
to
can
check.
actually go through the lower level,
Yeah.
that might work out well. But for us, it really wouldn't change the time or the cost to go through there or up and over. So, well, pretty much the same run. I mean, you've got an addition of 20 feet of wire if you go up and over, but that's fine.
You'd be going through all concrete on the lower level.
Is it?
Even the floor
Okay.
over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of holes, and there's probably just big enough to get the stuff through that's needed now. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of having it here. I think, Steve, you made that suggestion. I think that's,
Yeah.
loses 2 trees, but.
Do you know how long it would take for payback?
So given this system, you're probably, if we're talking 2 to 3% energy escalation, and that's just taking what it has been over a longer period. More recently, it's been much higher than that.
Yeah.
This system itself, you're looking at 12, 13 years. These panels are guaranteed for 25, but they will produce 40 years. There's some articles that have been coming out of some panels that were installed in the 80s that are still producing, some of them at 90% of what they were when they first were installed. So it's something where yeah, if you're able to leave it, it's gonna keep producing energy.
Okay.
Any more questions on this specific question or this specific system?
Don't think so.
So that ends up, what, 23,000? Or what's the,
23,039 after the focus on energy and the
Right.
federal tax credit.
Correct. Yep.
You say that the inverters have a 12-year warranty, so that just barely makes it through the payback unless, and then they're extendable, but I'm sure there's cost with that.
Yeah, so they're typically a few $100s to extend it to the 25-year. In most of the situations, we usually tell people to not bother. But, you know, if you want to spend the money, I can get the exact amount for this model, and if you want to look at that. Typically what we see, inverters are going to fail within the first 5 years, and after that, if they haven't failed, then they're fine, you know, outside of somebody doing something to them. And same thing for the panels. If they don't fail, really, if they don't fail in the first year, they're probably never going to have an issue.
And these panels are made in Canada?
Actually, these Silfab panels are manufactured in the US. I did verify that.
Yeah, see, they have US and Canada flags on it.
Yeah, so that flyer, but these, so they're pushing everything to be US manufactured, partially due to all the grants and everything that's coming in. So they're assembled here. This specific panel is assembled in the US. I have that verified if you want to see that.
but when you say assembled, where do the solar panels come from?
The components.
The components?
Yeah, all over the world.
China or what?
Yes.
Probably. There's probably 90% of all solar parts come out of China.
Why is that still not being done in the US? I don't understand. that.
It's just starting. They're finally pushing enough funding into it. The problem is the US manufacturing, in order to be cost competitive, needs a lot of upfront funding to compete with the cost of a panel made in, Malaysia, Vietnam, China, these places where the labor is really, really low, and they've got the infrastructure, they've got the amount of manufacturing for the efficiencies. So it's just really hard to compete with. But it's changing, and hopefully it will continue.
Yeah, the new buzz term these days is assembled in the United States with globally sourced parts.
Globally.
Right, yeah.
Probably right, yeah.
Yeah.
There is one other panel that's called Q-Cell, and they're the, I think, closest to having actually a good percentage of everything made here. But like I said, the price that you're going to pay for it is a lot higher than what you would pay for this panel.
Okay. Moving on to the salt shed.
Yeah, so while we were out, I had Michael with me, he's one of the owners, and he said, why haven't they looked at the salt shed or that other building? Because structurally they're both good. They both are truss roofs. They have roofs on them, etc. So the cost to install is a lot more affordable because you're not building any infrastructure.
Very corrosive.
Yeah, so and I did send, and maybe you didn't get it, but actually all solar panels are rated and salt tested because a lot of systems get put out by a lot of oceans or even in out at sea. And then they're all made with aluminum, and the material doesn't corrode the same way as like a steel, things like that. So it's definitely an aspect that we thought of, but it should be fine on top of
Who's responsible for removing them when you get the roof redone?
we are. So if anything you do, that any work that needs to be done on the solar comes back to us for the lifetime of the system. Now, obviously, that was one issue with the salt shed, is the roof on that is probably something that needs to be redone.
Yeah, we have the shingles. We haven't found someone to install them yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Question that I have, this is my professional person talking. How is strike that, what type of fastener is used to secure the panel framework to the structure?
Uh-huh.
Is it a through and through fastener? Does it screw into the trusses? I'm going to use the term very loosely, like a wood screw, that kind? Or is it a through and through with a nut and washer kind of thing?
So typically what we would do and probably propose for this is a flashing. It's a metal piece or aluminum flashing that goes up underneath the shingles. There's a kind of a mounting hole, and we drill through with a lag bolt so it goes directly into the truss, and then that gets sealed and capped off. And then from there we have the mounting brackets where we put the railing, and the railing gets mounted to that, and then the panels get mounted to the railing.
So what you're saying is there's no exposed fasteners within the atmosphere of the internal
Correct.
part of the shed?
They just get put into creosote boards,
Okay, because I'm worried
which are also
about
acidic.
corrosion, rotting off any kind of fastener just being in the atmosphere of the salt shed, if it was not into something directly.
Right.
Okay.
Is that the Iron Ridge rails and flash foot?
Yep. Yep. That's the attachment type.
And what's the payback on this one?
This one comes out at you're looking at, with the more conservative estimate, a 10-year ROI.
10-year what?
Return on.
10-year
Okay.
10-year payback.
Questions?
Who maintains the cleanliness of the glass?
So you can thank Wisconsin weather for that. Basically, we actually take into account 2% loss due to dust on these panels. That's probably high. We've modeled out and looked at places of a lot of desert dust, and the highest that they see is about 4.5% loss due to that. So if you're in the desert, there they actually do recommend a few times a year to clean the glass, but they also don't get the rain. So here with the rain and precipitation, we recommend actually nobody touches it, because really you just want to set it there and leave it alone. You just want it to be, you really want to avoid potentially scratching the glass, because that would void the warranty on it if you are cleaning it and you scratch it, which
Just hose it off if anything.
if you really want to. But again, even people that live right next to cornfields, they've had their systems up for 12 years. They don't touch them. And
We get a lot of chafe occasionally from the co-op down here
Sure.
for corn. and
It's not
fall.
occasionally. So when we leave here in the fall, our trucks are covered with that stuff.
Sure.
being parked out here. I rinse my truck off all the time at home
Oh, you can rinse it off.
just because they're covered.
Yeah.
The red eye.
It's a little different on a roof,
Yeah.
spraying it off all the time, you know.
Well,
The one on the side here, that's no big deal.
in that far building, I don't know if we'd have a hose to reach.
I don't think it would be a big deal anyway,
Hey,
to
Dan,
be quite frank
Can
about
you
it.
say brush truck?
Give them something to do.
I'm just saying, I mean, you've got a means with a vehicle that's not like a big fire hose, but it's something more than a garden hose. Cause it does get pretty bad, you know, in the fall when they
Some
got
years.
the dryers going down the road.
Some years
Well, you just
it
gotta
is.
check it once in a while, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
This has been one of our worst years in a while because of the south wind all year this year. Blows it all this direction.
Snow doesn't adhere to them because they're angled enough or something?
Yeah, they'll melt off relatively quickly. I mean, it'll sit for a little bit, similar to a roof, but they're black panels and doesn't take long once the sun's out. But again, we account for that in our energy estimates as well. So we're looking at, December and January, you're about 40% of the time covered in snow. So we're accounting for that. And our energy numbers that we provide are usually under. Most of the time, the production is higher than what we put.
So there's no energy storage in this system, it's all,
No, your energy storage is Alliant.
there's no batteries, it's just
No.
direct.
Nope, that's correct.
What we don't use goes right back in the system,
Yeah.
And
and that's what they pay
And when
us.
we're
The-
not
Right.
generating, because they're
Pennies for
covered with snow or whatever, we're drawing from the system.
Yep.
3.5 cents per kilowatt hour, I think.
Chris asked me to find out what they
Right.
pay, and they said that they will pay for anything over what we use at the same rate that we pay them for what we use.
Oh, good.
So,
So-
that
So
was,
all night, we're gonna be drawing power. I mean, there's not a lot of power they get, but all night, all cloudy days in the winter, so we're gonna be drawing power from the grid.
Right.
a day like today.
So what happens is, basically think about it like a battery. So on a good sunny day in the middle of summer, you're gonna produce 2 or 3 times the amount of energy than what you use.
So we're not gonna keep it, we're gonna sell it to them at a lower price than we're gonna buy it back
Nope.
in the winter.
No,
when we
You're
don't
gonna
price.
sell
Same
it,
price.
Same
you're gonna
price.
sell it.
It's the same price?
It is,
Yes.
according to Haley, on the 11th of November.
Is that a guarantee for any length of
I
time?
asked that question. They said from what she knows, there is no plan to change that at this time.
If there is a change, what they do is they have to write to the PSC, the Public Service Commission. They present, it goes through several different hearings, motions, people get to comment, then the PSC will make a decision. So last year, they asked to change it and the PSC said no. They had to present more studies. With that, if they do present a change, there's a grandfathering period. Could be anywhere from 10 to 12 years. So if, let's say in 2026, they present a change and it does get accepted, there would be a 10 to 12 year grandfathering period in which you would be in that. Alliant, what they proposed in the last round was called a power partnership. And what they were gonna basically present is a sort of flat rate, which would have been something like 10 cents per kilowatt hour. But it wouldn't have mattered. You could have produced any amount and they would have provided that 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So it would have kind of worked out the same either way. PSC said, we're not gonna do that. And to answer your question for what Alliant will pay you, the retail rate every month for what is equal to what you use. So that's why I sized your system at 75 to 80% to minimize the what we call overage. And so the way you look at it is like filling a bucket. You have your use bucket and your production bucket. So if they're equal at the end of the month, then it's canceled out. So if you produced 1,000 kilowatt hours, but you used 1,000, then that energy rate essentially is zero. Right? But if you produced 1,100, then that extra 100 would be paid at that wholesale rate, and that changes anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 cents. So that's why I did the systems that in this fashion, so that each month you're minimizing the amount of overage you have.
So in the summer, when you have a sunny summer day, and in the summer, you would think that would be the time that you might be producing more than you're using, but you're gonna get less for that extra than you're gonna pay for the extra that you take in the winter, right?
Yes, so I don't have your specific numbers, but I think, for example, in July, one of them was 1,400 kilowatt hours. And the way I sized the system is I think you were gonna produce 1,200. So you're not gonna go over with these at their current size. But if you produced more, then you would get a lower rate.
And if you produce less, then the company takes over when we pay them.
Yeah, you pay for
And that's the
whatever
way it is.
whatever you
Yeah.
actually use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Summer we could be getting money back, in the wintertime, maybe not.
In general, yeah.
But again, though, if whatever we pay over, we're only getting reimbursed at 3.5 to 4 cents per kilowatt hour,
Well,
which is what he just said. We get
Only
reimbursed at the
only
wholesale rate.
only if you're overproducing.
Correct. If we overproduce,
Yeah,
But you're sized to not do
we're
that.
sized at about 80%, so.
right, but I'm just saying, we don't, unlike, yeah, they're not gonna pay us what we're paying them.
No.
but do we think the cost of energy is going to stay about the same?
It's gonna go down very shortly. Big time.
Month and a half.
You know what? That doesn't affect us. It's not important. If we plan on doing this, it's still, in the long run, there's gonna be a payoff on it. I mean, we're gonna do good and
And it'll last for the future for many years.
So
It's a good
your,
investment.
the total cost would be like $39,250.
After the 30%
Yeah.
and the
Energy,
focus. Yeah,
focus on energy and
Okay.
the federal tax credit.
correct.
How fast do those come?
Well, focus on energy, those are the, $300.
Yeah,
Those will
that's-
come within 2 weeks after the system is turned on. The tax credit, so, if we do the installation next year, the tax credit would be that year's when you file your taxes. So, April or whenever it is you get to it for.
No, we don't.
We don't file taxes.
We don't.
no file taxes, yeah.
No, we
We're a
don't,
government.
we don't file taxes.
Oh, well,
We're the government.
it still is the same, it's the same.
We're gonna get a check,
Big time
Whatever.
the following
Yeah.
You
year.
get so you're gonna get a direct pay.
right?
My understanding is there is some administrative time though for the municipality, right? The town has to get some number from the IRS. You have to the clerk has to complete an application that, my understanding isn't hugely sophisticated, but it is time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys do that or is that on the town?
That's on the town, yes.
That takes
We-
2 weeks,
Sure.
What takes 2 weeks?
getting an EIN,
Oh, yeah.
government number. It's not like it's a big deal.
Not the governor number, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is something
What's
else.
the,
Paperwork.
how long does it take to get, I'm concerned of programs changing. That, are we gonna have a 30%, in this case, rebate, if you will, coming from the feds next year.
There's a county individual that briefs municipalities. I just sat through her briefing. I'm sure she can come.
She was here.
I should be, and I thought she had said that it is funded through some point into the future.
Yes, so the IRA, which this 30% tax credit comes out of, is set to go through 2032, right? So it's not something that'll just disappear. Doesn't mean that it can't change. So it is certainly within your interest to understand it and be aware of what can happen. The other thing to note is this typically is a tax credit, whereas obviously you're not paying taxes, but it's all part of the same exact program. So for them to go in and, pull out parts of it is pretty unlikely. Every kind of advisor that I've talked to, different kind of policy advisors have all stated the same thing, that this is not going to go away in the next couple of years. It's something that will take a little bit of time, and it's lower on the next administration's agenda to gut. Now, with that said, the way for at least for us, if you say, all right, let's do this, and you sign a contract, our first payment, well, we do charge $1,000 deposit, which is what we use to apply for permits and get everything situated. But the first payment is due 1 month prior to installation. And if something like the IRA got dismantled and you didn't want to move forward, we're not going to hold you to this, right? Obviously, if we've purchased equipment, we will do our best to utilize that equipment, but we're not going to hold you to the fire. We're not in this to take people's money for nothing. So, our contract is, of course, it's binding, but if the tax credit goes away, you all have a lot to figure out, and we have a lot to figure out. So it's not a situation where we're going to say, oh, you got to figure it out. Come up with money.
So the contract can say, if the IRA goes away, the town can terminate.
I'm happy to put something in there. We do stipulations all the time. So we work with a lot of farmers, and we do what's called a REAP grant. And with that REAP grant, it pays for, up to 50% of a solar system. And we always put in there that the contract is contingent upon the award of the REAP grant. So usually, we sign a contract, and it's not till a year and a half later that we actually do it. And if the contract or if the REAP didn't go through, then we wouldn't hold anybody to that.
If we were to decide tonight to do this, what would be the best case scenario time frame?
March install, which then would be usually takes a line about 1 month after we've installed to say you can turn it on, just because they go through their process. So let's say we installed early March, and then you're looking at April for the actual power generation.
Do they still require the town to sign an interconnection agreement with them? Is that still part of that process?
Everybody has to sign the interconnection agreement. So part of that, and we handle all of that. We would submit to whoever needs to sign it and basically tell you exactly what you need to sign. There is insurance requirements, which I'm sure you have more than enough. But that's required by the utility, not us, just to be clear. And that's so they're working on the line and they get electrocuted. You have the insurance to cover it.
But doesn't it also require that the power being generated is of a certain quality that's good enough for MGD?
Yeah, so there has to be a phase balance, and everything that we work with is UL listed and approved by and accepted by all utilities. And so it's not there's never been a situation where we've produced power and they said, oh, your power is no good.
I guess that's what I'm getting at. In the agreement, do you guys agree that the power that this thing generates will meet whatever requirement MG&E
Correct.
requires?
Yeah.
Is it MG&E or is it?
Alliant.
It's
Yeah.
Alliant here.
So we have to come up with then $57,000.
Yep. So if hypothetically you say, let's do this today, then I would draft up the contract, present that to you for review. Basically, it just spells out what's in the quote, including our legal portion, warranty, etc. And then once you sign it, then you would pay the deposit. So it'd be $1,000 for each system. And then the half of that would be due 1 month prior to the installation. The installation for each of these will take the salt shed, for example, would take probably just a day, maybe day and a half with a little bit of trunching. And then the pole mount would probably be 2 days. And then you would pay the final amount after both systems are approved and the utility has said you can turn it on. Then you turn it on. We verify that everything is working as it should. And then at that point, we'd issue the final invoice. So, sometime in April.
And we don't have to do anything to our electrical boxes?
You do, or we do, and that's included in this, right? So the town hall, part of the reason the town hall is higher in price is because we have included to rework all of that. Replace your main panel. And then for the garage, it just requires a sub panel. But again, we would install that.
That's all included.
Okay.
I did check with our insurance company to see what the panels, not this proposal, because there wasn't any time between Friday when I got it or Thursday or whatever, but when we were looking at the roof ones, and the premium would be about $300 more a month to cover or not a month, a year to cover the solar panel. So it's a little bit, but it's not huge.
It's not much.
It's not a lot. That's good. Thanks for checking.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of all the other things that, like that.
Roughly, what do they weigh? Like the ones that are going on the roof?
About 45 pounds each.
For
So,
each panel?
Yep.
And then what's the mounting mechanisms weigh? You said it's aluminum?
yeah, that
Okay.
hardly adds anything, but yeah, so
Because the second shed actually sits over a concrete bunker.
the one that's north of the salt
Yeah.
shed. Yeah. I think both are perfectly fine structurally and they can handle the added solar load.
Yeah.
And those are all things so we actually we'll look at the truss specifically and look at
Well, it's a brand new building, that north one, but
Yeah.
the concrete underneath of it, the foundation of it's built in the, 60s, 40s, I don't know. Whatever, something like that.
yeah.
We got salt and sand in there, so.
Are you worried about?
No, I'm just like, the more weight we keep adding to this stuff.
Oh,
I just-
sure.
I just don't, that makes me leery. I don't know. The more load we put on our roofs, especially when snow piles up on it. And no ice damming issues with those? You've never had any ice damming?
The ice damming occurs in traditional houses where there's already an ice damming issue, an insulation issue. We don't have ice damming issues because of the solar.
Okay. It doesn't hold up water from running off or anything?
No. Yeah, so these will actually sit up about 5 inches. And so they're just,
Oh, the actual brackets they're not right on the roof, they'll sit up?
they sit up. Yeah.
Oh, you have like a little stand or a pedestal thing or?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
That's what I worry about because they're cold buildings all the time.
Yeah.
So when it rain in the wintertime, freezes,
Mhm.
you know?
That's why we pay that $300 insurance.
Yeah. Exactly.
I hate to say it, but that's why you have insurance.
Mhm.
That would not stop us from having electricity.
Yeah, and we've put up, I just looked at it today, I think, we've done over 650 projects in the Dane County and surrounding county areas, between homes, commercial buildings, a lot of ag buildings, a lot of barns, a lot of sheds, things like that, and we've never, not once had any damage or any structural issues from our installations. And we're extremely thorough about that. So,
Have you done any close to a salt shed that I could like get a reference? Like.
yeah, I'd have to see. We've done
The
other.
north side of our building is already starting to, you can see it, it's starting to rust,
Yeah.
just with the salt dust. And then our lower shed gets it too. We're already getting some rusting, I would say. And that's not a true metal, it's a galvanized tin.
I'll look. We've done other town halls.
Okay. I'd just be curious.
Yeah.
You know offhand which, any towns in Dane County? Towns or villages, cities?
Well,
Doesn't that village of Cottage Grove, didn't they go all solar?
The town of Middleton has solar panels, I know.
Oh, did you guys do them though, or?
I'd have to look and see if we've done them. I'd have to look specifically which town halls we've worked on. We've done other like Sun Prairie, city buildings, but not like a town hall, chamber of commerce, that sort of thing. Yeah. But I can get a list if you want it.
The clerks all talk, so she can call the clerks and
Yeah.
get the skinny.
I know somebody donated solar panels for the town of Middleton. I don't know who they were purchased from. I would like to make a motion that we proceed with the solar systems that we have just been discussing.
That's a motion by William,
Second.
second by Duplay to proceed with the two proposals for the town hall and the salt shed as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Question, where's the money?
Well, we have,
100,000.
Undesignated?
yes.
So are you gonna put that in the budget for next year to use unassigned funds?
Well, it was at the end of our budget meeting, you said
The
we
budget
have,
is posted, it's not adopted, but it's
Yeah.
posted now.
and we had 100,000 and Steve suggested we put it into.
No, that was 100,000 that was still from our levy.
Yeah,
Right,
that we put into
We put it in
the
the
highway
levy.
department for the
Right.
levy.
pending other discussion, that we could move it.
Yeah,
I would-
so what's posted now for the public hearing obviously doesn't include this, so you'll have to amend that at some point. I don't know, maybe Bill can advise.
Yeah, you can change it after the public hearing. It's still, until it's
Same amount of money.
adopted. Until it's adopted, it's
Yeah.
not final, so you can change it.
Okay.
We're not adding money to it.
Would you
Yeah,
recommend that if they approve this tonight, that I repost that?
No, you
No.
don't need to. I mean, that's the point of a public hearing, is to be able to modify stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
So that's what you want to do, is shuffle 56,000 of that 100 back out of highway. That's your plan,
Yes.
Correct.
okay?
Right, and but you'll also have to show then that tax credit and the focus
Right.
on energy cash back coming back in
Right. Right, at some point.
from somewhere, which is,
Are those numbers, those are firm numbers?
Yep.
roughly $17,000. So, any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right. Get us the contract so Bill can look at it.
Sounds good. And then I will send you the same quote digitally, because you'll sign both the quote and the contract. And then if anything changes or there are any questions, we have no issues with amending or postponing or doing whatever. We're here to help you. We're not, like I said, we're not trying to swindle any money out of you. So if something
Okay.
doesn't make sense, we can rework it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item, discuss and consider approval of the 2025 through 2029 solid waste management agreement with the Waste Management of Wisconsin. You have their contract. Who's got the first question?
Are we keeping our old bins?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, I didn't think it's, yeah.
I guess my first question, Bill, is on page 2, construction and demolition debris.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fine. I had inquired as to, so they are exempting soil, concrete, and asphalt, and I asked if that was the intent. He responded that they do not collect soil, but they would collect concrete and asphalt. So given that, then I would just change that language to delete out
With the
concrete and
exception.
asphalt. So it would say with the exception of soil. This is page 2,
Okay.
Yeah.
subsection F.
So just the first line there?
Yep. The last line of
Last line.
subsection F. In the red line where it,
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We're just gonna accept the first line of it.
yes, I would change it to say with the exception of
Soil.
Yeah.
And then a period.
it would say soil does not include unacceptable.
I don't even understand this paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, the point of it is to list stuff that they're not gonna take. And, he says they don't take soil because they view that as yard waste, which is understandable. They don't want somebody putting, 16 cubic yards of soil out for collection.
Tell the public they can bring their soil here if they want.
Those are in Roxanne.
So with
Except
the
it-
exception of soil, construction and demolition debris does not include unacceptable waste.
Right. So I didn't see that, given their response, I didn't see that to be a problem. I mean, that's understandable and pretty normal in these contracts.
So if a private individual is remodeling their house or whatever, they could contract with someone, whoever they wish to haul that away.
Correct. Well, that gets to our later issue that, we do need to discuss, the exclusivity.
Yeah.
This is at page 5 and 6. Their language says the town grants and the company shall have the exclusive duty, rate, and privilege. And then the next page, page 6, says the town shall utilize efforts to protect and enforce those exclusive rights. My point to them was, listen, we will say you're our sole contractee. Town's only gonna contract with you, you can do that, but we're not gonna prohibit our residents from contracting with somebody else, nor are we gonna take action to protect you guys. If you wanna sue people, that's fine, but we're not.
I guess I just wanted to make sure that if I'm remodeling my house or whatever, and I have somebody deliver a dumpster, Royal or Pelletier, whoever, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I are saying the same thing. We don't want this contract to say if somebody's remodeling their house, they can only contract with Waste Management for a dumpster.
Do not want that.
Right.
I think they never did they? Was that ever a problem?
Well, under their
I don't
current
think we ever had a
language, it
problem
would be
here.
read that way. Their
Yeah.
current language says they
kinda
are
how
the
I read it.
exclusive provider. It would almost be as though you're granting a franchise to them.
But the old contract didn't say that?
I haven't seen your old contract. I've just seen what they
I would
proposed.
presume it probably does.
had a contract with them before, they just took over our contract.
No.
That we had
That's
with
right.
Advance.
And I don't think that
Veolia.
there was anything that exclusive in that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Not, it didn't sound as exclusive as this.
Yeah, this is, so I probably do 4 to 6 of these a year. I've never seen language like this with this
Really?
very sharp exclusivity stuff. I can't imagine any municipality would agree.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want that in there.
So, I mean, their answer here on page 5, this is a contract awarded to Waste Management to be the exclusive hauler for the town of Cottage Grove. There should not be another hauler working in this mentality. I think it all depends on what they're talking about, a hauler.
Yeah, and I think I can work through this with language, because I would certainly agree they're the exclusive hauler for the
Of-
government of the town of Cottage Grove,
Yeah.
but not the geographical area of the town.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with respect to E, this is on page 6. I mean, we're not gonna, if they think we're violating the contract, they can certainly, we and them can fight over whatever. But we're not representing that our residents aren't gonna contract with somebody else, and we're certainly not gonna
Or a
take
business.
action to protect their rights.
Right.
If they think they're being wrong, that's up to them to do something.
Absolutely.
So that was the big one, the exclusivity.
And just page 11 is the.
Oh, yeah, and that one was one I think Chris pointed out. This says if there's a natural disaster, we can ask them to help us and that they will help us. And then they throw in this last sentence that if the natural disaster damages their containers, we will reimburse the company the cost to replace them. I mean, if a tornado comes through here,
Yeah.
it's their property. It's
Yeah,
not
it's not ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
They should have insurance for that.
right. I can certainly understand if, under the wording of this section, if there's a disaster and we ask them to help, and they do help us and something gets damaged, then I could see reimbursing for that, because
Right.
they're helping us. But if a tornado just comes through and damages their stuff, they're no different than anybody else that suffered storm damage.
But yeah, they think that we'd have FEMA funds. That's what they're saying there.
Yeah, and maybe we will, but it's up to the town board how to spend those FEMA funds, not just give them to Waste Management. Yeah. So unless anybody feels strongly the opposite way, we would push back on that and maintain.
I like that, pushback. That doesn't make sense.
Page 13, this has to do with the annual adjustment of the rates. They've added the 12-month period, January to December. That's certainly fine. Most significantly, it had read under their language that each year it's going to adjust the greater of CPI or 5%. We changed that to the lower of,
That's what I,
yeah,
yeah,
and they did not push back on it.
okay.
So that's a good thing.
And they got rid of their fuel surcharge?
They did. They didn't push back. We deleted that and they didn't push to get it included back.
Okay.
Good. Those were the only issues that, of significance that they pushed back on.
Anyone have any other questions on
There's
this?
something about who does the work to educate the public. What was that? Did they-
I think they had us doing it
Yeah.
and we
Yes.
changed it to them doing
And
it.
they kept
Right.
that?
And they did not push back on that.
Okay. I can't remember where that was. Period. Company shall
$40 for
provide
every grill.
yeah, it's at the top of page 8.
$40 for every grill gets thrown out.
Company shall provide an education.
For what?
For every grill that gets thrown out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
I thought the toilet price was a little excessive. You can always just
Just toss
take a
it,
hammer to it, put it in smaller pieces.
just toss it in the ditch. We found 2 already this year.
Two toilets, seriously, toilets?
Yeah. We just toss them in the dumpster and then they have to collect it.
Good work.
They get one way or another.
Or you can do like they do up north, just put it on your snowmobile, take it out in the middle of the woods and put it right next to the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless anybody has any concerns, I think I've got
Non-transferable?
the agreement.
Yeah.
It's non-transferable on their part, yeah. Non-signable.
Yeah.
I mean, absent, they do have language in there if the company is sold, that kind of stuff.
That's what happened to us before.
And that's, I mean, that's fairly standard. Frankly, there's no really way around that because if you have a contract with them and their company is sold, the new company assumes all the contract.
Yeah.
You can't stop that. But most significantly, we can stop them saying, we don't like working with you guys. We're gonna just assign you to Joe Blow Waste Management. It's like, no, as long as they're in existence and we have a contract, they have to service that contract.
Okay. Did anybody have any other issues with this?
I move.
I do, actually, a couple questions. I know with other providers that they require that all bedding be encased in plastic prior to being placed at the curb. I did not see anything in here that would require putting a bag.
I did.
You did see that.
No, I mean, I put my mattress in a bag.
Right, but I'm just saying, I
Leave it out.
didn't. And I did not see anything about tires.
That would be under Exhibit B. Just looking to see if tires is listed. Batteries is.
No, I mean, don't they have? In their definitions, did they have unacceptable waste? On page 4, item BB is unacceptable waste, tires, radioactive, volatile, corrosive, flammable, explosive, biomedical.
So they will no longer pick up tires in any way, shape or form, it looks like.
No,
Right.
We just get them dumped in the
ditch.
ditches.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're taking construction stuff, because I didn't think they took that either.
What's that?
I'm surprised they do have construction debris in there, because I don't think they wanted that either.
The other thing that surprised me too was a 2-foot by 4-foot piece of carpet.
Yeah.
It's $40.
Yeah.
Can you? If
Do
you,
your whole room,
huh?
take it into.
Yeah, we found rugs, yeah.
Coil?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you buy your carpet there.
Oh, really? Trailer is open.
Now, they have been taking these things without an extra charge, haven't they?
What's that?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, these items like the sofa and the washing machine and that, until now. So,
So when you call for bulk pickup, now they'll give you a charge, yeah.
After the first of the year, so. get
40
rid of it
bucks,
now.
40 bucks, 40
Gotta
bucks.
throw it away between now and.
And they haven't been taking tires for a while either.
no.
No, my neighbor's got two still sitting out there. They haven't
You
been
gotta
taking
call
yet.
and actually make an
Yeah.
appointment.
Oh,
Yeah, they just won't pick them up.
it's a bulk item?
Yeah.
I'll tell them that.
So
Because the vans used to just grab them, that and the oil.
do I have Bill to proceed with what changes we want made with them
Yeah.
and get it back to us for signature before.
Did I forwarded you from them, so you got the
Yep.
contact?
Yeah, I do. Well, when does the current agreement expire?
End of the year.
December 31st.
Okay, then I'll get it to them right away so that we can have it on for the next board meeting.
Or else December 16th will be our last chance.
Okay.
I don't think we need to take any action. We gave him directions.
Mhm.
So we'll move on to Public Works, activity and road right-of-way permits.
Road right-of-way permits, we had two that got finally finalized, both with Spectrum. One of them off Morning Dove area, coax cable replacement. They're gonna put new conduit in and new cable. The other one's Gaston and Ravenway area, same thing, coax cable. Pretty standard, just replacements.
Did you have another one that just came last week from Alliant? That one that you put in.
I never got that one back.
You never got it back, okay. So
I
they-
signed it
so-
and put it in a bin.
Okay, so they must not have paid
That's
yet.
still sitting there,
Okay,
you know?
they must not have paid yet.
And then, we had two items for sale, was Wisconsin surplus. A sweeper and a truck, both sold. Sweeper was right around $1,200, which was crazy, I thought. And then,
Crazy
truck,
good,
what's that?
crazy good.
Yeah, especially since we posted it once before, never even got a bid on it.
Tried to sell it.
And then the truck went for 29,000. Gentleman bought the sweeper was from Rockford, Illinois. The gentleman that bought the truck was from
Faribault?
Fairground, something, I don't know, Minnesota.
Faribault?
Faribault, yeah.
That's a long ways.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
buy some solar panels.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Farmington, sorry,
Farmington.
Farmington, Minnesota.
It's still a
About
ways
almost 4 hours from here, yeah. When they drove down this morning, didn't have it paid for yet. He was literally on the phone in the drive, like wiring the money from his bank account. He's like, oh, I forgot the most important part, didn't I? I'm like, yep.
Oh, wow.
And then, furnace was installed. High Tech got that installed, at the town garage there.
Shop.
Looks good. Goes to the regular size filter, which is nice, because the old one had a weird size. We always had to try to find it. You never find that filter. Yeah, other than that, we got all equipment going on. Service,
Snow plows up,
what's that?
got all those snow blades on.
No, they're sitting outside right now, but we're getting all the salters and stuff on. Yeah, and then we're just been servicing everything to put away for the winter. Clean them, wax them, change all the oils, filters. That stuff.
Okay,
Busy.
clerk treasurer office update.
Just trying to dig out of the election funk and get ready for
Next,
taxes.
Fun.
Starting to wake up again after last week, so that's good.
Okay. Board reports and communications. I think everybody saw that December 8th, Jerry Durr's
Yep, memorial
gathering.
service, yep.
What happened?
Jerry
Durr
Durr died.
Oh, you're kidding me. I didn't know
no,
that.
yeah, he died up at St. Mary's,
Holy
undergoing
moly.
procedure, yeah.
Well, it was undergoing a procedure. Didn't know that.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
It was what?
Undergoing a procedure.
Draining fluid again.
Draining fluid, you said?
Fluid
I think so.
from lungs or?
I don't know. I'm hoping more will come out.
Hmm.
But, yeah, he was very, very tight-lipped about what was going on with him.
Wow.
And so
Big loss.
kind of picking up a
Yeah.
little tidbit here, a little tidbit there.
It will be it is a big loss
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
It
Dane
is,
County,
yeah.
the state,
Yeah.
his family.
That's all that I had. Committee reports, Deer Grove EMS. We meet this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. Nothing.
All right. Then we have a motion to consider adopt a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.81, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Land acquisition for North Star Road access.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Duplace, second by Williams. You want Dan to stay?
We think he should.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let-
Aye.
Ponder.
Aye.
Anders, Hampton, I, Williams.
Aye.
Duplace. We're going in closed session.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop.
Soon, everybody.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, back to recording.
So basically you could convey to Vinnie our wish that it's his decision. Either he pays for the land or he donates the land.
Is that what you want to say, or do you want him to just, you want to give him an option that the town will try to buy that?
He's gonna pay for it.
I guess I really don't want to deal with benefits. We're gonna have to,
Yeah,
It's not bad.
I mean,
It's
I-
red line.
red line.
So you,
I'm sorry.
At all.
Huh?
You don't want to deal with that.
No, not at all. I mean,
so you want to tell him
It's his land, he's
he
gotta
needs to put the
develop
road
the
on his
road.
land?
Those are, it's basically our choice, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Right, Bill?
And we'll want the 70 feet and we'll want
And you want to,
cul-de-sacs where they're needed. Temporary on the one going west, permanent if it's going south.
temporary at the lot line and permanent if they end within his land, right?
Yeah. Okay,
Move adjourn.
Second.
motion by Duplace, second by Williams. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Or
Opposed, motion carried.
Got a lot done.
what would your had done? Did you have a heart problem or anything? You didn't seem to be any, you lost a lot of weight. I know that, you know.
I believe this is just total